Hey troops, Roxy here and welcome to Roxy Plays Games and welcome back to a rather late Around the World in 80 Days. Yes, I'm really sorry guys, I should have had already, before doing this video, two other destinations done, or routes done. One a week today, gone, so a week last week Saturday, and also Monday this week. I should have had two videos done and then doing this one today, and unfortunately I just haven't had the opportunity. Things have been cropping up, and for me to do this video I'm going to need around about three and a half hours from start to finish. Although I'm chopping obviously a chunk of time out in the middle, I still need that big chunk of time to actually fly the plane. And I've been going out doing bits and pieces, and it's been busy around the house, doing some building, putting stuff together for my boy's bedroom and everything. So yeah, I've been really busy, so apologies for that. On the plus side, and hopefully there's always a plus side to everything, I have been doing some short VECC flights to kind of brush up on my personal skills within there. So hopefully going forward, when we do our VECC flights, I'm going to be doing that a little bit better. And also I plan on doing a tutorial, so I'm going to do a tutorial not in this playthrough. I'm going to do it in a separate playthrough, but I'll definitely put it in the links in future videos. A tutorial for getting started with VECC, so how you get your accounts, how you do your training, the plugins that you require, CSLs, and actually doing the whole flight and planning and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'm definitely going to do a plan on doing that. So yeah, sorry for the lateness. As always, thank you for everyone that has liked my previous videos and subscribed to the channel. Sorry that this one is delayed, but I'm going to be doing this one today, and I will get a couple of videos done next week for sure. Right, so let's have a quick look at the plan of what we're doing today. So we can see we've got a route up here. I'm actually showing currently the VECC flight. The reason being is there's something crazy going on at the moment. You can see all of these planes going down here towards Singapore, and all of these planes going up north somewhere. Not quite sure where they're all going, but there seems to be an event leaving this area here. So these guys, I'm guessing, are going to have been quite busy. I had a quick look and there was 40 departures when I looked, probably about half an hour ago. 40 departures leaving this airport, so that is just madness. But I'm going to be going into more detail what all these different colours are and letters and whatnot when we do our VECC flying. But you can see this is the plan here. So I left you a week ago, or over a week ago now I should say, in Calcutta, and we've got a flight. It's around about let me have a quick look, 2 hours 25 minutes for the flight, hence why I said I need so long to actually get stuff done with the talking beforehand. So yeah, it's around about 2.5 hour flight, and we are heading to Kunming. This little, well, I say this little airport, it actually looks quite big. Not been here yet, don't know what it's going to be like. It looks like it's going to be a crazy taxi into the actual airport itself. It looks quite big, but we will find out for sure once we get there. So that is the flight. Let's go back over to Xplane. Rather rainy day here, so let us get ourselves. Oh, what I have done as well, I did say I was going to stick with that one livery, but because we're going on to VECC and we're going to be using the call sign Speedbird for British Airways, I thought it made sense just to have the British Airways livery going forwards, because it's rather confusing. I'm doing a recording, especially when we get onto VECC and I start using my call sign of Speedbird for British Airways, and I'm got the skin of an Alaskan airline. So yeah, I kind of thought, you know something, I know I did say I was going to stick with that one livery, but I'm going to stick with the British Airways livery and the call sign that I'm going to be using, because when I've been doing some of my online flying on VECC. I was initially using the call sign of BAW or Speedbird 333, and there's a couple of flights I did where it's actually being used by someone else. So I've gone for I'm going to say a random call sign. If you look at the keyboard for the numbers, I actually went for the 4 corners, so I kind of went a zigzag along like that to each corner. 1973. That actually makes up a year, which is quite significant. So I'll leave that to your own imagination. I'm sure you can probably guess why 1973 would be significant for me, but there we go. Right, so last video I did a explanation of the chart for taxiing, so I'm going to briefly go back over that again because it has been a little while since we did the last video, and I'm also going to go into the departure and arrival chart. So let us get into where we currently are. So we are at VECC. This is the information with the frequencies and bits and pieces like that. So obviously you would put in here, where have we gone? You would put in here your frequency, so you put it in the standby and move it over to the active. Right, so for the departure, we want the airport chart. We want the taxiing chart. And we are taking off 19 left, so we want departure 19 left. It's got 2 routes. Let's go for the first one. And we also want our departure chart. We're taking off on the Sumag 2 Charlie departure, so this one here. Right, so let's go back to this. So we've got our frequencies. ILS obviously we're not interested in, because that's irrelevant. The only thing that would be relevant on here is the course, but we're going to get the course anyway from our Sim Toolkit Pro. So the departure heading. Right, so let's see. As I start talking and messages start getting messaged to me. Yes, so taxiing. I just need to sneeze, just going to mute the microphone.
Mic off. Mic on.
Oh, sorry about that, I just had a crazy sneezing fit. I didn't want to obviously deafen you guys with it. Right, so going back to our chart. So we've got our airport chart. It's going to give us information about the airports, frequencies, headings, all that sort of stuff. Any important information you need to be aware of. You can see this is where we are, and we are going to be taking off runway 19 left. So it's going to be a fairly simple taxi, but we do have another runway that we need to cross over, so it's not going to be a straightforward just drive along. Let's have a look at the taxi chart. So it says standard airport taxi route, or the SATAR departure runway 19 left, route 19D1. It gives you this instructions. But yeah, that's all fine. And obviously we know we're here, so we're going to be going on Foxtrot onto Alpha, along Alpha. Then we're going on to the runway 19 right through to Kilo, along Kilo, and then we're going to end up backtracking along Kilo to the end of the runway, and then turning around and coming back. So that is the taxiing. Fairly straightforward, pretty much similar. It gives us the route here, information about the taxiing. So yeah, route via Foxtrot 2, Foxtrot 1, Foxtrot Alpha. Turn left onto runway 01 left. to kilo, hold at holding point, runway 19 left, obviously to check on traffic. Okay, so that is the taxiing. Let's have a look at the departure. The departure is obviously going to be a little bit more in depth. So it gives us all of the various different SIDs. We're going on the SUMAG 2 Charlie, or SUMA 2 Charlie, abbreviated. This is where we are. So we're going from north to south, and it's got flight levels. Some of them will have speed restrictions on as well. Just having a quick look to see whether I can see any speed restrictions. Yep, so we've got some speed restrictions down there. Also at the top, we've got transition altitude, which is 4,000. So yeah, that's all looking good. What else have we got here? So yeah, so we're going to be departing from the north to the south on runway 19 left. We've got a height restriction here, a minimum height restriction, so we need to be over 1,000 foot here. We're then going to turn left towards Seagull, where we need to be below 6,000 feet. We're going to Sumag, so then at Sumag we need to be below flight level 130 or 13,000 feet. And then obviously we will increase our altitude from there. We've got the CAVOR radar area. That's the space that it's covering. So that's it pretty much. Fairly straightforward departure chart, this one. Sometimes they're a bit more complicated. It does give you directions. Obviously we're going to be following our flight plan, so we'll be on autopilot, but if you're doing hand flying, then you would need to know these headings so that you can manually do it. And you may have, if you're on VATSIM, if it's a busy airport and you've got controllers on, they may very well end up putting you on the departures, etc. Okay, cool. Right, so let me just have a double check of everything, make sure it's all looking good. Right, so that's all looking fine. That's all good. Right, so we're going to go back over to our chart here. This one here, unfortunately, is not showing a plane on the moving map, which is a bit of a bummer. So I know what route we're going to be going on, so I can get rid of that and just have this one on. And I just got rid of my departure chart, which I didn't want to do. Okay. Right, so we don't need pushback here. We're just going to go straight forward, turn left and start taxiing. But what we will need to do is get some engine started. So let's get that going.
Engine 1 timing. Start valve open N2 rising.
Obviously,
25% N2.
if I was using pushback, then I would be getting pushback right now while the engines are getting started. But we can just go straight forward. We've got a plane there taxiing out. That's cool. I'm not going to talk too much about VATSIM in this video. I don't think there's any real requirement to. But obviously, just to let you know that there are certain stages that you do stuff within VATSIM. As an example, you would obviously do your flight planning, file your flight plan. I'm going to go through in detail on all of this. But yeah, flight plan, file your flight plan, request clearance.
25% N2.
And then once you've got your clearance and you are ready to kind of go, you would request what's called push and start. So you would request to have your plane push back if it needs to be pushed back and start your engines. So you have to request permission to do that. And then once you've requested permission to push and start, and you pushed and start, you would then request permission to taxi. Right, so this is 152. Right, so our initial altitude, if we remember looking on here, is 6,000 feet. So we need to be above 1,000 feet, but we need to be below 6,000 feet. So our initial altitude at Seagull is going to be 6,000, and then at Sunmag it's going to be 1,300. Now we would normally be doing that manually, so I'd have 6,000 in here, but because we're not on VECC and we are going to be obviously controlling our own altitudes, etc., I'm just going to go all the way up and let the flight computer do all of our altitudes. We've got fuel in the center tank, so I'll put the center fuel tank pumps on, and I think that is us pretty much ready to go. Initial altitude, initial heading is 187. Let's get 187 in here. We will be flicking over to LNAV almost straight away anyway, but we'll have that in there. Alright, and let us start rolling out. So if you remember, we are taxiing straight down here, down Alpha. We're going to go on to a 01 left or 19 right, whichever way you want to look at it. But we're heading in the direction of 01. So from this point here to the top here, and then we're going to go on to Kilo. So we would stop short. Excuse me. We would stop short here if this runway was in use. It appears that it's not, so that's all cool. Does look like we've got a plane coming in, and look, is that the plane there? I can't quite see. That's going out. Yeah, so that guy's taxiing out. Probably watch my speed. Can't remember if it's 20 or 30 knots or 25 knots, whatever it is. Maximum speed when you're on doing this for real. And obviously on VATSIM they will have speed limits on there. You can't go taxiing at 100 knots. People might get a little bit upset. Right, so I'm not sure whether this guy is landing on 19 right or 19 left, but he is 2 miles out. So we are going to carry on and cross over the runway, and then we're going to stop short of 19 left, regardless of whether this plane's coming in or not, although it does look like he might be landing on this one. I'm not quite sure, because there's a plane on. Yeah, he's coming on. Yeah, he's coming on this one. We'll cross over. Probably should have held short there. I was cutting a little bit fine. I'm sure he's probably panicking right now. But we'll stop here as he's coming in. Swing it around here. Cool. So yeah, looks like arrivals is on 19 right and departures is on 19 left. Awesome, awesome.
Beginning
Right, so
taxi procedures.
let's get back in the plane. Just move forward a little bit further. Get ourselves straightened up, wait for this guy to take off, and then we'll backtrack ourselves down.
Before taxi procedures completed.
Do 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 do. There he goes. Rotatey. Rotate. Horrible day today. Horrible day. Nice and sunny in the UK. For those of you that don't live here. It was a scorcher yesterday. I didn't actually get on my PC yesterday. It was just so hot during the day. It's like 36, 38 degrees inside the house. It was horrendous. So yeah, I didn't even turn my PC on. Just couldn't cope with the heat. As much as I love sun and sunbathing and holidays and stuff, being inside in the heat, although I got a nice big ceiling fan, I had windows open and doors open, there was just no breeze. So yeah, it was nasty. So having the heat of the PC on right next to me just wasn't appropriate. Right, so we should have taxied down a 01 left, but because that plane was coming in, I zipped across here and took the other route. So basically the second route is Alpha and then along. So yeah, kind of cheated a little bit there, I guess. Although, did it actually save any time? I don't think it probably did, because I could have been up here while this plane here was taking off. Who knows? Doesn't matter anyway. Obviously, when you're on ATC, you will follow the directions from the controller. You don't have to make it up yourself. You'll have the guidance. Right, let's spin it around. Spin it around. Turned a little bit late there. Doesn't really turn too well, this plane. Like turning a barge. Righty, so let's get ourselves lined up, ready to take off. Hopefully there's no AI planes that is taxiing down here, because the downside with traffic in global is it's not always synced with the plane, and sometimes they will taxi into you. Righty, let us straighten up a little bit, put on the parking brake. We're done with the taxiing chart, so now we're on the departure chart. So like I said, we're going to be heading along, turning left to Seagull. We don't actually have waypoint Seagull in here, so we are going to manually turn. We could manually put that in, so we could put in SEGO. Is it Seagull? Yeah, Seagull. We could manually put that in there. So yeah, we'll do that, and then we can follow the flight computer then. Cool. So we're going to be doing a left turn. I'm on heading select, and then what I'll do is once we get to this point here, I'm going to hit LNAV. Okay, so let us take the brake off. Let's go for
before takeoff procedures.
Before takeoff procedures.
Before takeoff procedures completed.
Okay, the cabin is secured. Have a good flight.
Thanks.
Takeoff thrust set.
Thank you, co-pilot.
Airspeed alive.
Probably turn the wipers up a little bit higher.
80 knots.
It'd be good to have shared cockpit, so that the co-pilot, real life co-pilot, could actually do stuff like turn the wipers up for me. But we'll manage.
V1, rotate.
Rotate. Come on, she's a bit heavy.
Positive rate.
Whoa, whoa, got a bit choppy.
400.
Right, let's get autopilot on. Looking good. Let's do a little flyby.
Gear up.
Gear up. Yes. Right, so we're going to come here. We're going to be doing a left bank in a short while. We can manually do it, obviously by turning. ATC in VECC may tell us to do that. If there's a controller on and they want controllers, we could just hit LNAV. As you can see, obviously the line that when I did Seagull was back at where we was. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on this just to kind of reset that line, and then we're going to go LNAV. We're well and truly above 1,000 feet at that point there. We need to be below 6,000 feet at Seagull. And as you can see here, Seagull, it says 9,000 feet. So what you could do is go 060. Oh, I didn't actually do a 060. Put that in there. Execute. So that'll keep us at Seagull for 6,000. Summag, we need to be at 1,300. So 130 at Sumag. Execute. And then, because that's set my cruise altitude, next page, next, yeah, so that's reset all of that. So let's go 350, isn't it? 350. Yeah. Execute. Awesome. So you don't need to do all of that. That's just me keeping to these altitudes at Seagull and Summag. So 6,000 feet and 13,000 feet respectively. We could control it by this here, obviously having the altitude set, and then doing your level changes when you need to. But now I can just sit back, relax,
Standard set.
and obviously let the plane do all the hard work while I chill out and relax. So that's pretty much it for the departure, guys. It is fairly simple. It is really handy to have these charts and kind of get a basic understanding of them, so you can kind of follow the plane as you're going through. You can see we're going to come up to Seagull in a second, and then we'll do a slight left bank to Sumag. And once you kind of got an understanding of this, when you then do your online flying, that they may turn around and say to you direct NOCAC or direct Sumag. You need to be able to know how to do that in the FMC, and we're gonna go through all of that in this tutorial and obviously in the upcoming flights anyway. But you need to understand how to do that. But it helps if you actually know where that is on the chart. So yeah, it's definitely helpful. Anyway, guys, what I'm going to do is to save you from the boredom of just watching a rather rainy screen. What we are going to do is I'm going to cut the video here, and I will bring you back before we start arriving into our arrivals chart, so to speak. So I'll keep an eye on it, and then when we get near that point I will bring you back and explain the arrival chart, the approach chart, and the taxiing and stands and all that sort of stuff. Okay, guys, and oh god, I'm a noob and I haven't been putting flaps up. Wow, too busy talking about this, and I'm not concentrating on my flying. Yes, you can tell I'm not an expert at this, can't you?
Flaps up.
Flaps up. At least I got the gears up, eh? Just got a little bit of drag with the flaps.
Gear off, auto brake off.
Alrighty, so yeah, what I'm going to do now is I'll speak. Well, for you it'll be a few seconds. For me, it's going to be what's our ETE? 2 hours 44. It's going to be a good 2 hours, I'm thinking. So yeah, we'll have a look at the clock when we get there. Around about 2 hours or so, I will be back with you. Alrighty, we are back. We've been flying 1 hour 50 minutes was our departure time, and we are coming to top of descent. So let me have a quick look on the map with you guys. So you can see we're coming up to the Gullet waypoint. We're going to do a little bit of a right turn into IDPUG, XSJ, and then a left turn, and finally into the runway. So not too far to go, guys, not too far to go at all. ETE is 10 minutes. It'll probably take a little bit longer than that, but we'll see. So what have we done so far? I've got up all of the charts for our arrival airport, ZPPP. So let's have a look at, first of all, our arrival chart. So what you'll have is your arrival, which is going to be the furthest out, then your approach, which is the ILS, and then obviously the airport. So as you can see, we're at Gullet, and we're heading to IDPUG. So that's now our next waypoint, and we need to be above 11,820 feet here. You may be thinking, why such a random number? It's going to be because of the mountains. Obviously we're in a mountainous terrain around here, so that will be a height restriction to make sure we're above that. And then we're going from IDPUG to XSJ. Again, we need to be above 11,820 feet. Did I just see a lightning strike then? Looked like a lightning bolt just went down then. We are in a bit of a weather system. So what I've done is I have yep, I can hear thunderstorms. There it is. Oh, did you see that then? Cool. So what I was in the process of doing is putting in 11,800 feet in there. So that means once the plane starts to descend, even though it does say above 11,500 feet there, the plane won't descend below this altitude until we obviously let it. And yeah, we're coming into a bit of a bad weather system. I don't know if you can actually hear the thunder or not. Hopefully you can. Right, so that is our approach. This chart's fairly straightforward. It's got our waypoints in it. It does say here initial approach. When we're on our approach, the maximum speed is 205 knots. I would generally be around about 180 to 200 knots for the final approach. So let's have a look at our approach chart. Now this one looks a little bit more complicated. There's a lot more information on here. It's very busy, but don't be alarmed, okay? We've got our airport name and code up here. This is for ILS, for ILS DMEY for runway 04, so that's what we've got programmed in. You've got all of your frequencies up at the top here for various different controllers, and you've got your various different waypoints here. So this is the localizer, so it's 109.3, so we've got that programmed in here, 109.3, and on there 109.3, and we've got our final course of 39 degrees. We've actually put in 40 on here just because on the computer, flight computer, it's actually saying 40. I don't know whether it will make a difference. I'm personally going to go with what's programmed in here rather than what is on the chart, as we just need to put some speed brakes on, slow down a little bit. And there's the crappy weather. Let's put some wipers on, shall we? Oh, that's awful, isn't it? Anywho's up. Right, so I'm going to turn down the game volume just so that that rain isn't so loud for you guys and you can hear what I'm saying. There we go. Okay, so this is the approach chart, and like I say, it looks a little bit confusing. What do you want about bank angle? Oh, yeah, this wind is horrendous. We've got a really strong. We've got a 25 knot crosswind there that is blowing us all over the place. Going into looks like a bit of a storm going on there. Right, so we've got information localizer, final approach course. If you wasn't using a flight computer, then obviously you could put this in, you could use this information here. If you're doing it manual, you've got transition, altitude, all the other bits and pieces. You've got your feet to meter conversion there if you need to convert it for whatever reason. But we know we're coming in from XSJ after IDPUG. So IDPUG's over here, then XSJ, and then we're going to be coming into the ILS. We've got a go around. If we do need to do a go around, we've got some waypoints here with directions. We've got the ILS glide slope path. That's the missed approach route if we need to take that. And then we've also got, oh look, the plane's going all over the place. It's wind, what's going on? Eye of the storm, I think. Yeah, that's really noisy, the old rain and thunder. So we've got the mandatory minimum altitude that we need to be at for the glide slope. So that's 10,830. And then obviously we're going to be gliding down, and the runway altitude there of 6,885 feet. We're coming in on runway 4 right, did I say? I should know that. Yeah, runway 4. So, alright. Oh, we've got 03 and a 04. I thought there was a 4 left and a 4 right, but yeah. So, slightly different angles. So, we're coming in on 04. So, we're going to be coming in on here, and depending on where we exit, we can see the taxiways and the various different links. And we're going to be parking over here somewhere, wherever there's space in the terminal. Which I've got the parking stands, so we'll be coming down here somewhere, probably along Delta most likely, or Charlie, depending on which way the taxis are going, and then coming in here and parking wherever we can find a spot there. Okay, so that is the chart. So arrival chart first, gullet, IDPUG, XLS. We'll then go over to the approach chart, so you can see we're coming in here. We're going to come to the VOR XSJ and then kind of come round onto the glide slope. So that is pretty much it for the charts. I mean, obviously that is very brief, guys. There is a lot more information on here. The best thing to do is just read it, look at it. You've got your different waypoints that you can see, altitude, the glide slope path. What I generally do is kind of keep my eye on this. So once I hit this point here, so D12.4, which is this point here, the start of the glide slope, make sure that I'm obviously as close to this altitude as I can. So I'm going to be on a good slide in the glide slope. So hopefully that all makes sense. Any other relevant information on here? So we've got conversions. Lost comms procedures are always a good one to have. So if you do lose communications, you know what the procedures are for that. But yeah, so we're almost on this waypoint now. We're coming into IDPUG. Standard pressure. Let's get that on. Just going to have a quick look to see what QNH is. QNH of 1016, 1014. It may have changed since I programmed it in on the flight planning. Cool. Right, so we're coming into IDPUG. Let's get the legs back up on here. So IDPUG, 11,800 feet above. Glide slope, we need to be at 10,800. Got a 17, 18 knot headwind. So yeah, bit of a grim day. Oh, and the rain stopped. Cool. Yeah, a bit of a grim day. Grim day. Let's put these wipers off for now. Right, so we've got quite a sharp left-hand bank and then right-hand bank onto the glide slope. Seems weird, me looking at this glide slope and thinking, wow, I'm so high. Like normally we're landing at, you know, just a few hundred feet, not a few thousand feet, which is cool. A quick sip of my tea before it goes cold. Cabin crew was nice enough to bring that along. So yeah, I said the flight would be around about 2 hours or so. We've got a few more minutes, 5 minutes or so until we are landing. Looking at this, it's saying 7 minutes. The ECE on the flight planning is saying 5 minutes or 4 minutes 46 seconds, although that's pausing while it's calculating. So yeah, we're looking good, guys. We're looking good. I'm going to take the speed brakes up, the speed brakes off, not the flaps, please. Start slowly descending as I can hear a helicopter out in the background. So yeah, looking good on our descent. Alright, so I'm just going to mute the microphone a second.
Mic off.
Thousand ago.
Mic on.
Alright, sorry about that. Just had the kids coming in being noisy, so I just had to quickly mute the microphone and shuffle them away. Right, so we are getting close. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do my approach reference speed. So 150 knots. I'll probably go about 145 to be honest, because how heavy? Yeah, we're not too heavy. He's my brother. That's terrible, isn't it? I'm sorry. I should give up the attempts of singing to entertain you guys. Right, so holding 11,800, I am now going to drop down to 10.8. on there, and that's what we need to be at this waypoint. So let's do a level change, and if you remember rightly, the maximum speed was where's it gone? Maximum speed of 205 knots. So we're going to drop this down to
1,000 to go.
200 knots. Then we're going to be doing a left bank and then onto the glide slope at flight level 10. Are
1,000
we
to
actually
go.
changing? Are you going to drop some altitude? Thank you. A little bit slow there. 108, flight level 108. 10,800 feet. And then onto the glide slope. So yeah, looking good for coming in. And that's why these charts are really handy, because when you've got no idea what's happening, especially if you're quite new, and you don't know whether you actually are doing things right. Looking at this, you can see whether if you're doing it right or not. This is going to be a rough landing, guys. I can tell you for now. We've got a horrendous crosswind. The weather's really bad. But yeah, I wouldn't want to be flying this for real now. Crikey. Right, let's go flaps 1. Look at that wind. Oh, look at the wind. Look at the wings going. Let's go flaps 5. Crikey. Yeah, this isn't looking very nice at all. Right, so we've got ILS localizer. So let us go localizer lock. And then let's go approach and command. Alright, I'm going to turn the in-game volume up a little bit now and land this plane.
Glide slope captured.
Gear down flaps 15. Passing 10,000 feet. Passing transition level check altimeter.
Can't see a single thing. A guy here in the cruise at flight level 206, 207, so he's climbing, not cruising. I should say climb. Clearly climbing, not cruising. But yeah, can't see a single thing. So this is where now I'm just relying on the instruments. We can see here we've got our magenta diamonds. Oh, and there's the airport. Excellent.
2,500.
Right, so I'm now going to go over to the airport map and see where the exits are on here. So we've got Charlie 5 would be a good one to get off, but if not, Charlie 4, Charlie 3. So we're actually going to go maximum auto brakes, and the reason being is I want to try and get as close to the terminal as I can. I don't want to be all the way down here and have to do a 10-hour taxi, so we'll see how that goes.
procedures. Cleanup procedures completed.
Right, so I actually just hit the wrong button on my co-pilot plugin. Not something you want to be doing. Let's just get my flaps on flaps 30. That could have been a bit of a disaster. That's the only downside of having this co-pilot plugin is sometimes I hit the button at the wrong time
1,000.
and end up doing things that I shouldn't be doing. Like there was once I was taxiing in and I hit the button and I was on, after the cleanup stage, it's the shutdown procedures, and ended up shutting down the engines as I was taxiing, which was a little bit embarrassing. I can get it to show up down the bottom left hand corner, show hide, so it shows it here. I normally hide it for recordings if I remember.
300.
I just hit the button at the wrong time.
200.
Right, so we're coming in, auto brake is armed,
100.
150 knots.
50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Butter, that's what we like to hear.
Speed brake up.
Let's get the auto brakes on. Reverse is on.
Reverser is normal.
80 knots.
80 knots. And looking good.
Localizer
Good.
captured. Glide slope captured.
What are you talking about? Glide slope captured. Right, and where are we coming off? Charlie 5. Awesome. That's what I was aiming for as well. Right, let's turn the wipers off. Excellent. Nice landing. Much better than my previous 2 flights that I did. Right, so let's stop here. So this is where we would now get handed over to ground control from the tower. And they would taxi us in. So let's go taxi lights on, these can all come off. Right, so we come off at Charlie 5 that we was aiming for, so we're going to be doing a left turn and we'll just go down this taxiway to this point here, which looks like Sierra. No, we'll go to Delta 6. Yeah, we'll go to Delta 6 and then straight in here. Right, let's go. So if we're going to this area here, so we're going to be aiming for one of these stands here. So we're going to come through Delta 6 along the Tango 21 and try and find a spot here. Does look like it's quite busy. Right, so let us, because I'd already pressed the button to clean up, let's put our flaps up. Beautiful. Kind of come off the taxi line a little bit there, that's all fine. So yeah, that's why these moving map are really handy, and obviously having the taxiways available, because when the air traffic controller, or the ground controller as it would be now, if they was online telling you taxi via Charlie da 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 to Delta 6 stand blah blah blah, if you don't have these charts you're going to have no idea where to go. There are online maps or online charts that you can get hold of, but having it on here is so much better. That's why I like flying this plane so much. Although yes, you can have the plug-in up here and go to Avitab, Tango tablet, and you can have it up on here, which basically is just doing exactly the same thing as what it's doing on there. It's just nice having it on this tablet. Right, so we want this is Sierra. So you can can just see Sierra on that. We want the next one, which is Delta 6. And then we'll try and find somewhere to park, if there is anywhere. It's looking rather busy. That's mostly down to, or most likely down to the fact that I've got my AI volume, if you want to call it that, up quite high. Right, so we are coming off here. So you can see we're now at Delta 6. And you can just see there as well, Delta 6. And we're going to go on to Tango 21, which is this taxiway around here. And we'll just go around until we find somewhere. Now obviously ATC, if we had live ATC, they would tell us where to park. We will just have to try and find somewhere. So let's go outside the plane, see if I can see a spot for us to park. Wow, like every spot looks like it's taken. There's a guy just going in there. Alright, it looks like we've got some spots around this side. I can't see any on this side, so we'll go and park around there, no problem. So I could have come off at Sierra and then come this way, but I didn't know this was going to be so crazy busy. So hopefully guys, this has been of help to you. And hopefully you've enjoyed it. Again, with all those videos that I do, if you have anything that you want to go through in more detail, put a comment in the comment. Funny enough, yeah, put a comment in the comments below. Just let me know what you would like to see more of. But just bear in mind, like I keep saying, I'm no professional pilot. I'm no expert at flight simming. I do it because I enjoy it. I have a lot of fun. I'm personally progressing my own learning skills so I can become a better simmer. So for you guys, hopefully these will help you out as well. Right, let's see where we're parked up. I should have a camera angle kind of down here, I guess, would help. So you can see we've got the markings on the ground, where to stop, and then the auto gate can obviously come into that location. We've got a little bit further to go. And that's us guys. Parking up just there. We'll do the job. Yes. Thank you. Right, let us we would have done the cleanup, so let's do taxi lights off.
Beginning shutdown procedures.
And do shutdown procedures. So that's it guys. So hopefully, like I say, hopefully you've enjoyed that. Hopefully you've learned something, or learned a little bit more. The charts are very, very intimidating, but once you kind of looked at them a few times, there's basic bits of information on here. Let me just mute you. So like with the arrival charts, it's mainly just waypoints and altitudes that you want to be aware of, and any speed restrictions. For your approach, obviously you've got your glide slope, you've got your frequency and courses, you've got go around information or missed approach information. If you're doing a hold, you've got the hold information in. You can see your altitudes and your glide slope path. Initial approach maximum 205 knots. Simultaneous approach is authorized with runway 03, so that's cool. So yeah, all of these bits of information is all on here. It just takes a little bit of looking at it and trying to work out what it is. Every chart's different, so I can't turn around and say this is a chart, and this is how all charts are, because every chart looks slightly different. It's going to have bits of different information on. So really the only thing I can suggest is picking a departure and arrival runway, or airport I should say, getting the charts up for it and just looking at it, doing the flight, and just kind of monitoring your flight and your chart, flight and chart, and like I was doing on here, and was kind of looking at as we was going through these different waypoints, and then when we was coming around here onto the glide slope, and then obviously taxiing, you know, watching your taxiing routes. So that's it, guys. Now I was initially, this was should have been Saturday last week's video, which I was just going to do approach and departure charts, and then Monday this week I was going to kind of combine them all together, and then the video which should have been next week, which would have actually been 2 legs ahead of where we are now. We was then going to go on to VATSIM, and I was going to do quite a long VATSIM video and explaining how that all works. So slight change of plan. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to do the next leg on VATSIM, but I'm going to do it next week. But what I'm also going to do next week is I'm going to do a tutorial on VATSIM, not here. I want to actually find somewhere where we've got some ATC rather than just doing it where there's no ATC to talk to. So what I'm going to be doing is going over to here and having a quick look. Let me just actually finish this flight summary. Complete flight. Click OK. So yeah, I'm going to look on the live map. I'm going to show you some other tools or websites that you can use for checking who's online. But you can see we've got a big chunk, just take following me off, got a big chunk of flights going on in China at the moment. I'm not sure what's going on now. You can see them all, looks like they're all following the same route. And we've got a big controller online, so there must be an event going on over there. We've got Russia over there. And UK, as always, at this kind of time of the day on a weekend, it's always busy. But yeah, that's where we are going to obviously do our, well, not obviously, but that's this roughly the area that we're going to do some VATSIM tutorial training in for my next video. So thanks again, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's been useful. Again, apologies for not getting this out sooner, but I will get myself all caught up with a couple of videos next week. So take care as always, be safe, and I shall speak to you soon. Goodbye.